We're going to look at hormones under neural regulation. This means that a hormone is secreted in response to an action potential from a neuron. Let's look first at our hypothalamus. Well, let's first put it on hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus is going to send an action potential to the posterior pituitary. Okay, the posterior pituitary actually stores two hormones that are made by the hypothalamus. So the first hormone we want to look at is ADH. The job of ADH stands for antidiuretic hormone. Because a diuretic makes you lose water, it tells the kidneys to take out water from the body. An antidiuretic hormone tells you to conserve water, tells the kidneys to conserve water. Whenever antidiuretic hormone is acting on the kidneys are going to decrease water in the urine. It will increase water in the blood because there's only two places for the water to be, in the urine or in the blood. So you can see that this is going to increase blood volume and it's going to increase blood pressure. Okay, the reason that ADH is going to be secreted in the first place is going to be secreted whenever the blood is concentrated. Secreted when blood is concentrated. Okay, if we go to our blood chapter, I think you've learned another word there. It is secreted when you have a high hematocrit. Or if you have high viscosity of blood. Okay, the second hormone that is secreted by the posterior pituitary gland, that was made by the hypothalamus. I'm going to change colors here. And we're going to come over here and we're going to write oxytocin. Oxytocin is going to be secreted when you have chemicals from the fetus who's ready to be born, tells the hypothalamus to secrete more oxytocin, to say, basically the fetus says, I'm ready to be born. Or another reason that oxytocin is secreted, whenever you have the suckling reflex. That would go along with breastfeeding. Okay, the job of oxytocin, well, it's going to cause uterine contractions. It causes uterine contractions during birth. And then another thing it does is it's going to cause milk letdown. Another way of saying that is milk being transported. Milk is transported from the mammary glands to the nipple, and that's oxytocin that causes that transport. Okay, another hormone that is under neural regulation is short-term stress. Let me see if I can get this to move up and stay. I don't really know how to do that. This is kind of irritating to me. Over. Nope. Okay, here we go. We're going to have our brain here, or spinal cord here. And that was a really big spinal cord. But I don't know if you remember from your sympathetic nervous system, you have T1 through L2. Those spinal nerves in between T1 and L2 have sympathetic neurons exiting through them. They exit, they're going to synapse in the sympathetic ganglion chain, and then your postganglionic neuron goes to the effector organ. That's how most of them occur. But you had one sympathetic neuron that passed through the sympathetic ganglion chain, and it went to the adrenal medulla. Okay, the adrenal medulla, whenever it is stimulated by that sympathetic neuron, is going to secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine. So the sympathetic neuron, you're probably recognizing the name sympathetic because you have your sympathetic nervous system. That sympathetic neuron is going to stimulate the adrenal medulla to secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine, and you're going to have the effects of the sympathetic nervous system. Okay, you might remember those as short-term stress, the E division, the sympathetic nervous system, or fight or flight. This is going to tell cardiac muscle to contract, smooth muscle to relax, and glands to not secrete. Okay, so those are the hormones under neural regulation.